The Ravens signed former Cowboy defensive lineman Ron Urban to a one-year contract. He reunites with the Ravens. He played 4 years there before going to Chicago for a year, before going to the Cowboys for a year. Now he's back with the Ravens. Jaedeveon Clowney re-signs with the Browns on a one-year deal worth $11 million. There was a report that came out after he signed this that he decided that there was offers for multiple years for only $14-15 million, and then he said no to those offers to come back to Cleveland. My only assumption is this: he wants to play with Myles Garrett. It's easier for him to play with another great pass rusher, and that's fine. But I don't think all those, well, there was multiple teams. No. I think people looked at it and they're like, well, maybe later. If we get past May, May was when I predicted he would be signed, right around that timetable. Maybe even past OTAs, then we'll make a decision. And he was still there until Sunday afternoon when he signed with the Browns for $11 million. NFL owners had an unexpected meeting, and they, quote-unquote, were counting votes on what to do with the Daniel Snyder situation. Now, if you've been living under a rock, Daniel Snyder, he's been in the news a lot in the last couple of years about some of the Washington Commanders' activities in the front office. And everyone, including Washington Commander fans, don't want Daniel Snyder there. Daniel Snyder asked late last year to step away from the day-to-day and put someone else in charge, at least for a little while. He in turn put his wife in charge, which we all know if you've watched a lot of documentaries. If the guy is either incompetent, or if the male or female is incompetent, the spouse takes over. In percent, in terms of writing, however, that doesn't necessarily mean they are actually running. So if I own a company, and my wife, or my spouse, whoever it may be, is with me, and I have some legal trouble, and I put their name on it, but I'm still running it. That's basically what the Snyders are doing. It's not like, oh, this is new ground. This happens all the time. If someone has had some legal issues, they need to sort it out. They put the name and they put someone else's name on it so they don't have to worry about it. That's what they do. And that's what happened with the Snyders. That's what they did. I hope he gets out. I don't think he's a good owner. But as of right now, they're only, quote-unquote, counting the votes. The 49ers have signed former Jets and Bills tight end Tyler Kroft to a one-year contract. I mean, okay, I guess. It is the way it is. Nick Saban made some interesting news at the end of last week, made a rant on the NIL deals in college football. The NIL deals are name, image, and likeness. It's basically paying kids, if their jerseys are sold or pictures of them are sold, they get some money. That's paid from the NCAA, which happened via the government when they had went to court, and the government said, NCAA, you can't do this. This is illegal. And why you were getting away with this is beyond our ability. which it was. And they said that if this was brought back again, it could be worse for the NCAA, and it would be criminal charges. And that's terrifying, because the NFL and the NCAA, football is a very schemy business. Any sport is. There's always a good side, there's always a bad side. For the NCAA, this was the bad side. So the athletes were getting paid. And I understand it's been getting a little ridiculous. $1 million, $3 million. Pitt, we talked about last week. A guy from Pitt transfers to USC and gets $3 million to live in California. To just play football. Like, that's just the way things go. So Nick Saban said that they gotta come with a solution to how, what are the boundaries that we have to create. Now, I don't know what the NCAA can do. I think if you're so many colleges in an area, you should somewhat band together. But that's not just what he was talking about. He brought up his old friend Jimbo Fisher in Texas A&M, who had the best recruiting class this year. Alabama was second. And he said, Nick Saban said, they bought their team, which Jimbo Fisher made a press conference about a day later, because there was a panel that Nick Saban was on, and said, no, that's not true. And if you looked in Nick Saban's past, he's not Mother Teresa either. In that rant with Nick Saban, he also brought up little-known Jackson State, which is coached by Deion Sanders. And he said that there was a 5-star recruit, and Jackson State offered and showboated that they were paying this guy millions of dollars to come to Jackson State instead of going to Alabama. Which, I'm not saying isn't true. Maybe they did. But Deion Sanders, I think, went the right way with it. He said, he's a great coach, I respect him, but that's not what we did. And he didn't say this via press conference. He had a phone call, he answered the phone call, he went and said, this is what happened. Nick Saban later apologized and saying he shouldn't have named anyone. But still, we all knew who you were talking about anyway. It also, make note here, Nick Saban makes $7 million a year. And Jimbo Fisher, who coached with Saban at LSU, saying he's not Mother Teresa either. You could easily investigate and look in his past. And there was things we did. So now, what is the NCAA going to do? It takes a long time for them to do anything. But if I'm the NCAA, I'm sitting down with Deion Sanders, Nick Saban, and Jimbo Fisher. We're all getting in a room, and we're going to talk this out. We're going to figure it out. Because, Nick Saban, you're the best coach in probably college football history over the last 25, 30 years. Jimbo Fisher is part of this. Deion Sanders is part of this. We got to talk it out. And then we'll see what actions go against. But, as of right now, that's what should be happening. And finally, Jim McMahon started a petition for Mango McMichael. Mango McMichael has ALS. And he's had ALS for the last year. McMahon wants McMichael in the Hall of Fame as part of the 85 Bears. Played 15 years. And his petition asks for 25,000 signatures. You don't have to donate money, but if you choose to do so, that is fine. Please go to change.com or type in petition for Steve McMichael. It should be the second link on that. Please have Mango McMichael in the Hall of Fame the NFL Hall of Fame before something worse happens to him.